Hey, it's Camo, and welcome to this edition of Nashville Meets World. And I'm really thrilled to introduce you to Brittany Bexton. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You didn't know what I was going to shake. It's a trick.
It's a trick.
See if I can get her. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Really digging your music.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll interrupt you and ask brief questions.
Okay. There's so much. Okay, where to start? So I moved to Nashville about 8 years ago.
Right.
I'm from California originally, and my background is very varied because I grew up in churches,
Right.
singing in church choirs, and then I did musical theater for a long time, actually.
That could be a vast difference depending on the church that you're going to.
Absolutely. Musical theater is sort of a world in and of itself. But I did that for many years and was in professional theater and went to a conservatory for musical theater. And then in the early thousands, I just thought, I don't know that I really want theater to be the main thing. I'm not as happy doing it as I expected to be, and I really miss doing my own music. So I put the focus back on my music and moved to Nashville.
Of course.
Yes, and have been here since. So this new project has been a different step for me because I used to really promote everything very country.
Mm-hmm.
And this project is a more inspirational project. It's a lot more personal.
Cool.
And it's after doing a lot of soul searching and taking a step back for a little bit. So
A lot of great albums have come out of that. Carole King.
yeah.
I mean, that album. And I think it just celebrated an anniversary lately, in the past couple of weeks, of like 35 years or 40 years or something. No, it's got to be, that'd be the 70s.
Are you referring to the album that has Natural Woman on it?
Yes, yeah. So that's got to be, I think, 45 years.
So good though. The right music's timeless. You know?
Well, that's it. And I think that's the artists that have the longevity are writing music that isn't today.
Right.
It's being broad enough about feelings or the world that, I mean, all that stuff from the 70s you can hear on the radio and it's still irrelevant today, but then you look at some of the stuff that came out in the 80s, especially on the pop side, it was so keyboard driven, it sounds dated and irrelevant.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. It's all about getting to the heart of the matter. I think when people are authentic about themselves, their experiences of life, it's timeless because the human experience never changes.
Yeah, and a strong, well-written song about the human experience, that's what takes you all the way.
Yeah.
You have to kind of look at the business as a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so many people today are looking at it exactly the opposite because it's all about making that money now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like to look at it as the difference between a really good quality t-shirt that lasts you a long time and the kind that might feel nice and look nice, but they're really thin and they fall apart after a few months.
Yes, my life is a t-shirt. That's a different philosophy. You can start a whole religion about that, t-shirtists.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm a t-shirtoid. I'm thin and frail, and after I bathe a couple times, I'm useless.
Definitely an interesting metaphor.
So where in California were you from?
So I'm actually from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
I think a lot of people that move out here are from LA.
Yeah.
But I grew up
Or
in the
Southern
North Bay.
California.
Yeah, I know. As a Northern Californian, we think of all of Southern California as LA.
Different place. Yeah.
It's like everything between Ventura and San Diego is LA.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people that don't live in San Francisco often call it Frisco, but no one in San Francisco calls it that,
Yeah, it's like Nash Vegas. The only people that call it that are people that aren't from here.
Yeah, although I have thought that a few times when I've seen all of the truckloads of bachelorette parties.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with Vegas. That just bad taste. Bad taste can happen anywhere.
Yes, this is
but
true.
Consumers of your music have good taste.
Well, thank you. I would like to think that. I know it matters to me. I'd like to think that if it matters to me that much, it will matter to other people too. So.
And I think you have the right formula. You're doing intensely personal songs. They're songs that matter to you. People relate to that. That whole related bit. So are you seeing yourself less of a country artist and more just an artist, and let other people put you in the box?
That's absolutely right. It's funny because people have asked me what genre I am recently, and I'm like, how do I answer that question exactly? I used to market myself country. Really, I'm a singer-songwriter. I write what matters to me. I would describe my music as kind of a roots rock or soul rock vibe with a positive message, but genres are kind of a fluid thing these days anyhow. It's kind of hard to put anything in a specific
People
box.
hear this, oh, then you're an Americana artist.
Right.
We don't know what else to call you, so you fit into that's everything. Springsteen's an Americana artist now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I used to think of as Americana. It was like, okay, well, if it's Americana, that just means it's the genre that doesn't have a genre. But it's funny because I was talking to a radio friend recently, and he's like, no, I mean, Americana is really more folk. And I said, is
No,
it?
it's not.
I'm not sure what to think.
I think Americana is roughly defined as anything that's distinctly American roots music.
Yeah.
Which encompasses jazz and folk and rock and roll and
Blues.
yeah, everything.
Yeah.
But it's a good place to be if you're going to be forced into that category, because it gives you the freedom to move all around within those.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be, oh, you do electronic pop. You know.
Yeah, there's not much to go from there.
Yeah, that's not really roots. How has the response been to you here in Nashville?
That's a good question. I haven't tapped into the industry with the new project as much. It's been more a grassroots thing up to this point. So I guess that's yet to be seen a little bit in the next month or so, because as the song officially comes out on all the digital platforms, I'll get a little more feedback. But as far as the way people have responded to it as an audience, it's been really great. The new song, Believe Again, it's kind of one of those songs that you can't play it without at least one person in the audience crying. Which sounds weird to gauge how good something is by that, but I was at a radio show recently. It was a radiothon raising money for a local nonprofit, and one of the women in the audience didn't just get teary-eyed. I mean, she really cried. She bawled and had to walk away so that she wasn't crying loudly on camera, you know? And afterwards, she came up and gave me a hug and apologized, and I went, no, don't apologize. It made my heart happy. And I was like, oh, that sounds a little weird to say. You were bawling and it made my heart happy, but it means that the song meant something to her and touched her in a place that still needed to be healed, and that does make my heart happy.
Do you judge, you come off of your set and it's like, somebody says, how was your night? And it's, it didn't go very well. I only made one person cry. Is that how you use that as a sounding board?
That would be an interesting sounding board. I mean, I guess if someone does bawl, then I know it must have been really touching. So there is something to that. But I don't know. I like to think that everyone reacts in different ways, and as long as I put my best foot forward, people are going to respond in some way or another.
I mean, I've seen acts here in town that have made me cry, but not for
good reasons.
Yeah. It's like I paid money for that.
Yeah.
Has it been a big adjustment, changing your lifestyle from Northern California to Nashville?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I would say that probably the biggest adjustment for me when I first moved was the bless your heart mentality.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bless your heart.
Because everybody is really sweet and welcoming to an extent, and I do think that as a whole, the South is just friendlier. I mean, you're going to go to the grocery store and people will strike up a conversation, whereas in most of the West Coast areas like California or the Northeast areas, you're going to go to the grocery store, you're going to do your stuff, and you're going to leave.
And if somebody talks to you, it's like, you're insane. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
This guy escaped.
I mean, the area I'm from is friendly, but it's not like here. you just don't stop and talk a whole lot. But that said, I also think that where I'm from, people are really straightforward.
Yeah.
And generally, if someone doesn't like you, you're going to know it. And if you're not welcome in a place, you're going to know that too. Whereas here, there is generally just a more friendly sense overall, and there's a more open feel. But I also think that it was an adjustment for me in the beginning because sometimes it felt open, but it wasn't really.
Yeah, and I know what you mean for those at home that are watching and not understanding the bless your heart mentality. Bless your heart isn't a compliment.
No.
In the South, it's kind of really patronizing, and yeah.
It depends on the context. I mean, there are times when someone's really sick when you can say, "Oh, bless your heart," and it's genuine. But
for the most part,
it's like, "Oh,
bless your heart."
Yeah, bless your heart.
You've just been called an idiot.
Yes, pretty much.
And the South too is different than most other places. Every other place in the country, they kind of hide crazy.
Yes.
Here, they put crazy on the front porch.
Yes, yes, they do.
Right up on the front porch.
And give it a big glass of sweet tea.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And yeah, eccentricity is almost, you need that on your license, driver's license. You know,
right.
Eccentric. Okay, got it.
Well, and it's interesting because Nashville, it is a southern town, but it's also just an artist town, you know? So that's different too. I mean...
Yeah, because there's no place like Nashville as far as having the music industry this big anymore. I mean, LA used to have that. New York used to have it. It's still there, but it's very, very small.
Yeah, I think they both have the industry, but it's not like it is here. I mean, this town is run on the industry, basically.
I interviewed Cyndi Lauper a few years ago, and she had said, you know, people in Nashville have to understand the music communities as they are here, that used to be in LA and New York, they're gone. This is the only place left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's different coming to a place where the in-your-face industry is music.
It is. It is different. Well, and I used to joke that you could always tell the artist because they would be decked out in an armful of bracelets, you know, and whatever interesting outfit, you know, but you walk out here and you're like, well, everybody's a little bit like that, and that's definitely an artist, and that is. And it's funny because my background actually is very country as far as the lifestyle I grew up in. I grew up out in the country, and I grew up going to rodeos and riding horses bareback at my aunt's ranch. And coming to Nashville, it's not country here.
No.
There is country music here, but there is nothing country about Nashville, or particularly down to earth necessarily, besides the general conversation.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yes, very much. And that was a big adjustment for me. But I wouldn't say that was a southern thing as much as it was just being plopped in an artist town.
Well,
and
you would have experience knowing what LA is like, but I'm assuming Nashville is very much like LA in that kind of smoke and mirrors.
It is. Definitely in the smoke and mirrors way. Yeah. Very much so. My cousin is actually an actor who's been based out of LA for a long time, and he had a period of time where he did really well and then got kind of disillusioned with the industry and took a break, and now he's more doing behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, all the smoke and mirror stuff that happens, really. I mean, there are relationships that are just publicity relationships even, you know, and just so many crazy things that happen that you just wouldn't even think about. I don't think Nashville is as pretentious as LA in that way. Yeah. I call LA like LA plastic. Yeah.
There's a great line, Sean Mullen's Lullaby, which is one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah. And, you know, LA is just Nashville with a tan. And it's true. Yeah. Okay, enough about that. Let's have a song. Play a song for us so these nice people can hear what you're all about.
Now we're going to do a couple songs, right? So
yeah, so we'll do one and then we'll talk a bit more. And
sounds good. Let's do I Remember You first.
So this is the one where people will cry.
This is actually not the kind, although some people have cried for this too. This is not the next single. I think we'll end with the next single. This is one I actually wrote with Andrew, who's playing guitar.
Brittany Bexton.
Fake a smile just to get through another day, not telling the truth. It's like you don't remember your smile light up the room. On those days that you forget, I'll be there to help you through. 'Cause I remember
Wow.
Hey everybody, this is Nashville Meets World and I'm Max here in County Cork at the Blarney Castle Hotel, where I'm having a new segment with American students who are learning Irish dancing here in Cork in the University College Cork, and we're out here for a night out with an Irish music session, and I'm here going to introduce you to them all, and they're all going to say where they're from and what they're doing in Ireland, and hope you're going to enjoy. And then they're going to dance later on. They learn 1 hour a week, and they've learned maybe 11 weeks so far, so they're doing pretty good. So here we go. I want to introduce you to them all. Say hello. I still got that all wrong. Okay, so I'm going to send the camera around. So this is Nashville Meets World, and these are all from the United States. So they're over here in Ireland. They're going to say where they're all from. We're going to start off with first David. Cammy.
Hi, I'm Cami and I'm from Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Thomas and I'm from the great state of Indiana.
Aww. How's it? I'm Caitlin, I'm from Hawaii. Hi, I'm Kelly and I'm from New York.
New Yorker. Woo!
Hi, I'm Danny and I'm from Nevada.
Hi, I'm Brandon, I'm from California.
Good man, Brendan. That's table 1, down to table 2. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh. Hi, I'm Claire, I'm from Minnesota.
From Minnesota. You hear that? Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Amelia, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hello, I'm Brayden, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hi, I'm Taylor, I'm from Pennsylvania. Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Megan. We're from Buffalo, New York. I take dance lessons with Max, and we want to give a shout out to 106.5 WYRK.
And they all bought their Reba McEntire tickets.
Yeah, we did.
So that'll be, they're going to look forward to that concert when they get back. But I'm going to hang on to them here a while, because we're all going to dance, okay?
Yeah.
So, oh, I'm so sorry. My beautiful Irish dancer here.
I'm from Maine. Hi, I'm Marielle from California.
What part of California?
Napa Valley.
Oh, good, good, good,
Yeah.
good. That's 2 from California.
Hi, I'm Esperanza and I'm from El Paso, Texas. Hi, I'm Emma and I'm from Boston. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm Rachel and I'm also from Boston. I'm Claire and I'm from Seattle.
No. Go back. No. We're going to go back. Where are you from?
Seattle.
Seattle. I love Seattle.
Yeah, it's me too.
Huh? I'm Maddie and I'm from upstate New York. And she's an amazing dancer. How many weeks have you been learning?
12.
Oh, we're on 12, week 12 now?
No, like 9.
No, we're on 9. We're on 9. We don't know what we're on. 10. Week 10, and she started Irish dance to me, and we've turned her into a dancer, haven't we?
Yes.
Bella?
I'm Bella and I'm from Kansas.
Where are you from?
Kansas.
Kansas. I have some amazing friends in Kansas, Bella. Aw. You're going to see Bella dance in a minute. Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily from Virginia.
From Virginia. Oh. Are you into country music?
Oh, it's okay.
But you're into me, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to perform later on. It's just this is the Blarney Castle Hotel. We're after stuffing our bellies and we'll have to work it all off later on. Won't we, Camo?
Yes.
Woo! So from Nashville Meets World, I'm Max. Back to you, Camo. Bye-bye.
The whole time I'm listening to you, you're not a soprano, but holy Pat Benatar. I mean, because you're this diminutive woman and that power. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually am a soprano, but I'm like an
Really?
alto also. Yeah. When I was growing up, I was always a first soprano, and I have like the crazy stratosphere range, but I've always, when I'm singing my own stuff, kind of am more in the guttural,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
alto space.
It's neat, you know, when you're talking about your music as well, that it's kind of genreless. Like in my head, I'm hearing it with full strings,
Yeah.
but I'm also hearing it like with just a cello. You know,
I love cello.
yeah, there's
Love
always room
cello.
for cello.
I agree. You can't go wrong with some cello at the bottom.
But yeah, that's neat, and a good song should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good song.
Thank you.
So, what are your plans here? I mean, how do you see your career kind of progressing in Nashville?
That's a good question. So I, used to have the whole dream of playing stadiums, and really what it's about for me at this point is I just want to write and play music that reaches people and means something to them.
And make a living doing it.
Yes, and make
Yeah.
a living doing it. And I also wrote a book called Learning to Believe Again that just came out on February 4th, actually.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm hoping to do some speaking engagement type things as well, and kind of, this might sound funny, but start a movement of healing in a sense where, people that have struggled don't have to feel like they're alone, and the music that I'm creating makes more of a difference than just entertaining people for a little bit.
Let's talk about the book then for a little bit,
Mhm.
and then we'll get back to music. What inspired you to write the book?
So the book and my new single are actually connected,
Okay.
because Believe Again is the single, and then Learning to Believe Again is the book. But I actually have gone through quite a few interesting experiences in my life, and quite a few after I moved to Nashville. I had to get a restraining order against my first roommate here in town, and dealt with a few other kind of crazy experiences and betrayals afterwards, and I just kept pressing through it, and working, because I was determined to do something here and do what I came here to do. But what I learned was that if you have a trauma and you don't process it properly and you just kind of keep pressing through, it actually becomes PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
It's the processing of the trauma that kind of prevents that. So a few years later, I realized that I was not in a great place and that I was having really disproportionate reactions to things. So I had started a new relationship at the time, and everything was great, and I didn't get a response one night really late, and I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a train and lost everything and was grieving, and I went, this is not a normal reaction to what just happened. This is totally disproportionate. It's almost like I have PTSD.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, I was right. I had PTSD, and luckily I had enough personal awareness to recognize that that was not me. That wasn't a normal reaction. And
did you go out and get a support animal? Like support chickens are very popular right now.
I've heard.
I've
I can't
heard
imagine.
about a support peacock on a plane, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Support peacock. That's a first.
yeah,
I mean, they are very pretty. Maybe the colors are mesmerizing and distracting.
That's what you need. You don't need to write a book. You need a support animal.
I actually had a bunny already who was quite a support animal, and I have a puppy now, but I don't treat them as support animals so much as just members of the family. But yeah, so I started going to counseling for that and spent about 4 years like really digging deep into kind of the traumas that I'd gone through so that I could reprocess them and get out all of the pain, upset, anger, whatever I hadn't processed, so that it wasn't bubbling up over nothing anymore. But in the process of that, it was hard to just really believe anymore. Now, I had always believed in God, I'd always had faith, but my faith was really broken because I'd gone through so much that it wasn't that I didn't believe that God existed, I did, but I had trouble believing that He was going to protect me, had good things for me, or that good things would last, because I just seen so many things crash and burn. So I was kind of in this state of always waiting for the next shoe to drop, and while I was going through counseling, I realized that one of the things that was really broken was my faith. And I'd seen someone who had this really great faith, and they just kind of shined, and you could see that in them. And I looked at them and I thought, man, I remember when I felt that way, and I miss feeling that way. I miss having that and that kind of stability, even of just knowing that I was protected and that God was good, and I want that back. So I did a lot of digging to find that again, and the book came out of that. But it also, during that time, I was processing a lot of my thoughts, and I would do monthly newsletters for my fans that follow me via email, and I would just do a thought for the month. So each time I do a thought for the month, it was basically whatever I was thinking about at the time and processing through, you know.
If I did a thought for the month, I'd have nothing to say to anybody because that would be my one thought.
The difference between men
Yeah,
and men and women,
there
right?
you go. That's everything I think this month. It's not much. I keep interrupting you.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, I would do this thought for the month, and I started getting these responses from people that were reading them that were like, wow, your thought of the month just changed my life. I had been struggling with making this decision that I'd struggled with for so long, but I read that and I just knew immediately what I needed to do. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And I was getting responses similar to that almost every month, and sometimes more than just the one. And I thought, well, okay, I guess this is making a difference for people. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe I should write a devotional. I could write a devotional. I mean, that seems simple. I could just write a thought for each day, which is kind of what I'm doing. I don't think I could wrap my head around a novel, but I could do that. And when I started working on the music project, I had just recorded the single, but there was a delay recording the rest of the album. And I realized that that was the time I needed to write the book. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's cool. Is it? Do you feel a lot of pressure though writing a devotional? Because to me that would be like you have to come up with something prophetic, and I don't come up with prophetic things. I come up with stuff like drizzle is just a word until it happens, and that's not giving anybody any guidance really. So.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I guess there could be a lot of pressure, but I didn't feel like there was. But you said you feel like it has to be somewhat prophetic. I am somewhat prophetic, and I was getting prophetic words. So that was part of it. I mean, I really felt like I let God kind of lead that. So there were a few topics that weren't necessarily prophetically led metaphors or something that I could dive deep in that way, but there were topics that I just knew needed to be covered, because one of the things that I'm healing from and that, you know, I help other people with and raise awareness for is domestic abuse.
Right.
So I felt like forgiveness was a topic that needed to be discussed in a different kind of context than the church usually discusses it. And I felt like anger was something that needed to be discussed. So
Revenge.
not revenge, but yeah, no, there's a chapter
Is
called
that not one of the 10 Commandments?
not so much. But there's a chapter called Righteous Rage.
Okay.
Where it's, you know, about how anger is a healthy emotion if it's expressed correctly and handled correctly.
Yeah.
So some of it was that, where it was like things I knew needed to be talked about, and some of it was prophetically given. Like I would have a morning, I'd be on my way to do my writing time, and God would be like, this is what you're writing about today. And I was like, okay, thanks.
Okay. It explains kind of the glow you have, I guess.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, the song, which came first, the song or the book? Which?
The song.
Then let's do the song.
Okay. You ready?
You're watching Nashville Meets World, my extra special prophetic guest, Brittany Bexton.
Little girl staring at the sky, I saw God in every shining star. How can you trust when your life is shed? How can you stand when you're on your knees? How can you hold it all together? Pretend to be strong when all you feel is weak. How can you hope when you're feeling hopeless? How can you pray when you can't speak? Where do you begin? Learn to believe again. I believe that I can stand when I'm on my knees, that I can hold it all together, that I can be strong when all I feel is weak. I believe that I can pray when I can't speak. Where do you begin? When you're learning to believe again. Oh, 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 'cause I'm learning to believe again.
Wow, dynamic song. Very cool. And Tapestry is the album that Neil played.
Yes, Tapestry.
Carole King Tapestry. Yeah, if you're just tuning in now, you have to go back to the beginning of the interview. And you shouldn't just be tuning in now, you should have watched from the start anyway. That's a great song, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much a biographical song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're writing all of this stuff from experience.
Yes.
Not just music, but the book as well.
Yes.
And so you're hoping to get on speaking engagements with that.
Yes, and do more touring again. I toured full time for about 4 years, and when I kind of took a little bit of a step back to heal and refocus, I've still toured, just not as much.
Right.
So this year we'll probably be getting back into a bit more touring again, and yeah, it's really just about reaching people. I think that people are drawn to the message that they need, and we're put in the places that we need to be.
This country, the U.S., is so divided along so many different lines right now. So probably a good album and good book for the time.
Yeah, I think so, and I hope so. I think that there is so much more connection to be had, and we are missing it so much in today's society. It's like with all the technology that we got a lot of these great benefits, but we also got a lot of disconnection that we used to not have. So I just hope that, you know, I can help spread more a message of connection and love and healing. So
All right, leave our viewers with something kind of prophetic that they can take away with them. No pressure.
Well, okay. Honestly, prophetic doesn't just happen, but I did feel like when we were talking and you said, well, it's no wonder you have that glow. I think that, well, some people have kind of specific prophetic giftings. Everybody has a little bit of that in them, and everybody's heart matters, and God speaks to all of us. So don't diminish the things that matter to you or the things that come for you that you feel are profound or meaningful. That would be what I would want to leave everyone with, because I think that everybody has a mark to make in this world, and everyone has a purpose, and everyone's internal message has meaning.
Excellent. All I remember about everybody's purpose was Steve Martin in The Jerk, and that's a different thing.
Of all the Steve Martin movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's now time to play Ask and Answer.
Awesome.
So our incredible viewers around the world have sent us questions. I'm just going to reach here and mix it up.
Okay.
And you get to pull one out and read it.
Is that one? Yes. Okay. You are stranded on a desert island with only one item. What is it and why? This was sent in by Amy Peterson in Nashville. Oh.
That's our lovely camera person and floor director.
With only one item. Okay, I'm gonna go with a water filter. I mean,
oh yeah, I guess yeah.
I can't help it. I just have to be practical. I grew up with boys. That's all I can think of is the necessities. How am I going to survive on this desert island? Okay.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Very practical answer, and not the idiotic answer that I would have given. Here, let me put that back in the
So what would your answer have been?
It probably would have been my phone.
Your phone.
Yeah, because then I've got something to do.
Yeah.
You know, you can only work on the tan so much.
Yeah, but on a desert island you could build sandcastles and
Yeah,
it's an
it works,
island, so I mean there's the water, you can swim, play with
I
animals.
get bored at the beach. I do.
Okay.
Okay, so Brittany Bexton is heading out on her first international headline solo tour. Who opens for you?
Oh, that is such a good question. Could it be like a double billing?
Sure can.
Because the people that I would think of are people that are so massive in their own right, it'd feel really weird to say that they'd be opening for me. Man, I would love like John Mayer or female artists. Jewel would be cool. She was
I
one of
could
my
see
early
that.
influences.
And see, now that you said that, I can hear that. Yeah.
And, well, I only need two, I suppose. I don't have to think too much harder.
Yeah,
There
you
are a
don't
lot
wanna
of
be
people.
greedy. There's only enough artists going around, you know. Man, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
The new single drops,
It drops February 28th.
okay, and it's called again,
Believe Again.
and the book is called
Learning to Believe Again.
and that's available now.
It is. It's available now anywhere that books are sold.
What's your website so people can go and check you out and follow your socials and stuff?
It's BrittanyBexton.com, and since there are a million ways to spell that, that's BrittanyBexton. So BrittanyBexton.com, and all my socials are Brittany Bexton too, so I'm real easy to find.
And coincidentally, her name is Brittany Bexton.
That's it.
Thank you for being here. It's
Thank
been
you.
an absolute delight.
Thank you so much for
Love
having
your
me.
music. Come
Thank
back again.
I would love
When you
to.
write another book or have another single, come back.
Perfect.
All right? Excellent. Thanks for watching Nashville Meets World today, and our guest, Brittany Bexton, if you hadn't picked up on that name by now. Make sure you catch me every Sunday at midday all across the UK on Chris Country, following Kix Brooks and American Country Countdown. We will see you next week. Bye.
On my way.